melanin on the stage, man. We look good.
You're
Man.
so
Black,
funny.
Might be the light.
black people up here on the stage,
Oh,
man.
why aren't the lights white, Chef? Oh,
You
hi.
live? Oh, we Bossy Live, and we are we got a new set, y'all. We are at Gigi's Music Cafe. We are live. This is our first show back in how long we been gone?
4 months.
I mean, y'all said that with an attitude just now. Both of
I
y'all,
did.
like,
I
he
did.
was like, shh, he was like 4 months.
I can't
Nah,
remember.
right now, I think we've been gone for about,
Maybe I say 90 days.
A while.
Oh, I'd say
Wow.
about 90 days.
we circled the block though.
Yes,
Come
we
on.
And we
did.
came back, and I'm excited to be back though.
Yeah.
I missed you guys. I missed this conversation. We got a little extra special guest today. Woo!
How y'all
We
doing?
got Adrian Squared.
Boom.
Adrian
Boom.
Squared today to join the conversation. We're gonna do so we got a special guest. We're gonna do some hot topics, some different things that are going on.
I'm just crashing the party, y'all.
He's just
I-
crashing the party.
I'm just
He's
crashing the party.
We got new, Anthony was our super producer before.
Yeah.
Now you up here. I got my little brother in the back. I might bring him up here in a little while. He's
Introduced a new crew.
introduced a new crew
Yeah.
that we got going
Tommy
on
and
here
Pete
today.
Rock back there.
We got-
wait,
yeah, we got a new
Wait.
crew today.
wait. I almost choked on the cement in my mouth.
So we're gonna have a good show today. So y'all were already in conversation, and I'm kind of trying to jump in because I had no idea what y'all were talking about, but it was getting a little heated. So who are these people we were just talking about? Is this
Right.
something current in the news? What was it? Tell me.
Yeah, so the thing is, Rick Ross is
Mhm.
paying $11,000 a month to his baby mother. That just happened today.
Mhm.
Then that conversation, we're talking about PJ Washington, the basketball player,
Okay.
and what's the girl's name? Brenner.
Brittany Renner.
Brittany Renner, and how she's getting 20,000 or
Mhm.
almost 20,000. It's like $17,000 or $18,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a stark difference. He only has one child with her.
With Brittany Renner.
Mm-hmm.
PJ has one child with Brittany Renner. Rick Ross has 3 children
Mhm.
with this woman.
Brianna Camille.
Only $11,000.
Mhm.
But then we're talking about the comparison of how Brittany is going to go run the same play again, get another ball player who's going to pop another one in her. And
Did
who's-
she say this? Why did we decide that part?
Brittany Renner said that it's stepdaddy season. So she's looking for a stepdaddy for her son. And that being a mother is so ghetto.
That's a
There's
track
not a
record.
million women saying the same thing.
But-
yeah, that's
You know what I
fine.
mean?
But she
I mean,
just
I was like, I don't know her history, so I'm asking:
Oh, she
is
has a
there
track
a
record.
reason
Yeah,
that
she
that's
has a
what
track record.
we're
She has a track
assuming this isn't just a thing? Like,
no,
Yeah,
because
she
it's a
has a
track
track
record.
record,
She's
and she says
specifically going after athletes.
Mm-hmm.
She's had an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually
Young.
had several. She actually wrote a book called Judge This Cover, where she talks about 10 different relationships she's had with high profile men
Mm-hmm.
in the music industry, basketball players, entertainment. So all men in entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells you about their relationship and sexual life,
Mm-hmm.
but she doesn't tell you who the rapper or the entertainer is.
Okay.
And then she has a bunch of clips where she talks about if you want to come up on a check, then just sleep with an athlete. They're really dumb.
Okay, I did see something about it. Okay, I saw
Yeah.
something about it.
And
All
then
right.
she starts dating PJ Washington, who's actually about 8 years younger than her. He's like 22, and she's going on 30.
So she already has a kid with another
Yeah.
athlete.
Yes, and
And
they were
this is a
supposed to
new
be getting.
athlete.
No.
married.
He is
No,
the
Oh,
only
he
athlete.
is the
athlete.
Mhm.
athlete. Okay.
And he's paying like $17,000, $18,000.
Yeah, he's paying. At 1st they said he was ordered to pay $205,000 a month, which wasn't true. He was ordered to pay about $20,000 a month for his one child,
Okay.
and Rick Ross is paying $11,000 for his 3 children.
Okay.
And
but,
Rick
we
Ross
know
makes
this-
significantly more than PJ Washington.
Double.
Yeah, Rick
He
Ross
makes
makes about
double.
7
$7
million a
million.
year.
And he has a $4 million, and PJ has a $4 million contract
4 million
over
a
3
year.
years.
What's the
million.
state?
Right.
Well,
It makes
he
a
here.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Four,
He's in
Rick
four-year
Ross is
contract
Georgia.
over 12.
Rick Ross is in Georgia.
And PJ
Nobody.
and the girl, I think
LA.
they're West
No,
Coast.
I'm not sure where he is. But yeah, I know the
The
state
state
and the
matters.
judge is going to make
The
a difference.
state, the judge, and whatever money they report, I guess. So what we're saying is that you're saying that this woman is going to do this again. So I have a question, right? I'm not saying that she's right. I'm not saying that she's not going to do this. Here's my question, because if she's saying that, the easiest way to come up on a check is an athlete because they're dumb and they're going to do this. Are we disagreeing with that?
No, that's exactly what we're saying.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Is
She
she
gonna run this
saying the
play
wrong
again.
thing, or are we just mad that she said it?
No.
Or we're saying that,
No.
that she
We're not
isn't
mad
wrong?
that she's saying it.
Mhm.
We're mad that another dude is gonna still go.
They are.
God, dog.
Yeah.
So
That's-
at the
I
end
ain't
of the
mad at
day,
that. I'm
I
just
feel
saying.
like for me, I feel like I appreciate more the fact that you already said what you're doing. So anyone now didn't get trapped. They didn't
That's
get
what I'm-
tricked.
But even before
didn't
with
get, like-
PJ,
yeah.
I said that she had a shirt on that said "Gotcha."
Mhm.
She walked up to PJ with a shirt that said "Gotcha," and he was still like, "You got me."
Yeah.
Come on, bruh.
So in those cases, we know, like, it's weird because, like, as say the next guy happens, right?
Mhm.
People are gonna say who they're going to villainize is her.
Yeah.
But she already said, "This is what I do." So
Mhm.
is she the villain?
No,
Oh,
not-
she's
we
the
not-
villain.
She's absolutely the villain.
But why? If I say,
She the
hey,
villain.
it's like
because
what's the
what?
story with
Because
the
what she's
scorpion?
doing is villainous. It's just that how dumb.
The behavior should not be condoned. That's why she's the villain.
Mhm.
The behavior
Okay, which
is wrong.
behavior shouldn't be condoned?
The fact that she is preying on men because they're incapable of
Are they incapable?
Ooh.
they're incapable of being smart enough.
No,
to
they're
make
not.
They
We,
are.
we
Chevy.
gotta stop
Because she calls them dumb.
No, she called them dumb. But what I'm saying, we do this
They're not
thing
incapable.
where we say we put
They-
men in this thing where he couldn't help but to make that decision. Yes, he can.
But
He absolutely can.
Yes,
he
he can.
chose not to.
Yes,
he
yes, he
chose
can.
not to think this through. If the evidence is there and you
I
choose
don't.
to
I
move
don't
away,
think. I don't think it's
we
that
cannot
simple.
coddle men and make them children and then want them to be men. Like, you can't say you're incapable of this, but also stand up and be a man. It got to be one or the other.
PJ Washington was 20, is in his early 20s.
I
He
get
is
it
a
that
child.
I get that he's younger.
He is much younger than her, and I believe that she led him. She baited him with sex.
Okay.
That's what she does.
But what
and
I'm
that-
saying is, we can't keep saying that about men. Like, she offered him sex. Now he couldn't refuse. He can. They can do this.
So I
But she can
They
present.
can.
She
They
she
say
can
yes or
present.
no.
But she also presented
Uh-huh.
herself to want to be in a relationship with PJ.
Men don't do that to women.
They absolutely do.
So are the women incapable? Because we tell women, you should have been smarter. You should have known. You should have seen the signs. We expect women to be smart
think-
and like pick up on the clues, and you've
Pick
seen
up on
this
the red
pattern
flags.
before. But when it's a
Absolutely.
man, we say, the men are dumb. They can't figure it out.
Oh, I'm
They
100%.
can
I
absolutely figure
100%
that
agree with
out.
you.
They
They
can.
But I don't think. I think that if you know, I feel like the behavior is wrong. Period. Whether a man does it or whether a woman does it.
Agreed.
I feel
Yes.
that Brittany Renner preyed on that young boy,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that he had the financial access that she was looking for.
Okay.
So I do not condone that behavior. She is the villain in doing that to him.
I agree with you on that. She probably preyed upon him, that her actions were not obviously of a pure heart, but I absolutely have to stop at the, like, men are too dumb to know that they're not.
No.
This is a choice. It's a
I know he
choice.
chose.
We can't say
He
like
chose to
they're
have sex
not
with her.
responsible
I
for
think
an action,
that-
because if it was the other way around, we would absolutely say, "Now that woman know better."
So
But
She
that's
knew
what.
he
But that's what I
was.
say about Future all the time. Like, people be like, Future ain't wrong. He take care of his kids. Future's the villain. Okay. Future is
but
a
y'all
villain.
gotta stop with the take care. You know how I feel about that. We talked about that today.
But-
that
but
I
that's
took
the
care of
thing.
my kids. There's no trophy for that. That's what you're
But
supposed to do.
This
if you
is
raise
what
them.
this is what makes me very upset about people saying Future ain't wrong, and I'm just like, Future is absolutely wrong. There are women who gravitate towards him. They're making a decision.
Mhm.
They get involved with him.
Right.
People tell me all the time, "Oh, Future's so charming. You'd want to sleep with him too." The hell I would not. I would not want to sleep with Future. I don't care, because there is a pattern of behavior that I see,
Mhm.
and I don't care how much money he has. I'm not about to step into the ring with this over fertile
No,
motherfucker.
I agree with you. The saying that the behavior, whether or not his behavior is wrong, but what we don't say about the women is, we say, people say those women know who Future is.
Oh, they
We don't
dumb.
say-
They
we
dumb.
don't say, oh, they weren't smart enough to know how to make that decision. We say they should have known better because they knew who he was, and he's not pretended to be anything else. So we can't do it the other way when it's men. We can't keep
I
coddling
totally
oh, the
agree
poor
with you.
guy.
Anthony.
There was sex, so now he doesn't know what to do. Like,
Do you feel like Future is
Who you think is responsible for coddling the men?
I'm
it's
saying
always the
in
women.
I'm saying you can't say that we want men to have a sense of accountability,
Mhm.
but also when they make bad decisions because of a sex, because of a pretty woman, say, well, a man can't say no. Why is he 4? Is he 2? Here's the thing: both people do it. Men use the excuse because it's easy to get out of it, and women use the excuse to forgive it.
Yeah. It's just bad
Right?
behavior on both ends.
It is, but what I'm saying is, if we can't use both, it can't be like.
Both can't coexist.
No, because one's going to keep canceling out the other. Either he's
Absolutely.
responsible for he's a man and he's responsible for his decisions, or he's a child who can't make his own decisions.
I
like
think
he
PJ
can.
Washington a child.
Not him and his. Like, he's 22. I get what you're saying.
So
That she could have influenced him,
She
but
did.
in general, we have a tendency to say when a woman is overtly sexual or very pretty, and the guy is over. Oh my gosh, what else was he supposed to do? Not.
No, I
He
agree
could
with
have
you.
just not. Like
I
he's
agree
not.
with you.
He's not struck dumb. That is an
because we don't-
excuse for men to get out of it and women to be able to forgive. Because now I ain't gotta drop my boyfriend because I can say he couldn't help himself. Obviously, she threw himself at her.
we emphasize more on vagina discipline and penis discipline.
Right.
That's the basic.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
And when we
Anthony,
do,
you are right.
you're right. And I
You're
think that it's it
Discipline.
doesn't that it does.
How did I get here? How did I
I
get
actually
Discipline.
like discipline. I think that it does men more of a disservice than they realize.
Yes.
Because later it is well, I'm a man, and are you? Because if you also can't be also saying, well, I couldn't because she offered and now I didn't know what to do and I was stuck. But
Men have
I'm a
no
grown
level of
man and I can
discernment.
do what you can't.
You're
choose.
100%.
You
correct.
gotta be one. Like
do y'all praise men that walk away from women?
I praise them.
Okay.
I
mean,
absolutely praise them because I want them to be better.
Temptation is real.
I want them to be better decision
Yes,
makers.
I feel like temptation is real on
Both sides.
both sides, but we have a thing of expecting women to be able to
Say no.
say
Right, so
no
because they're
all the time.
socialized.
Yeah,
to
we're
be more-
socialized to think
to have
that
more vaginal discipline.
think that women do, to think that women aren't as easily tempted as men are. But we know, like,
50. It's 50-50
what?
in terms of cheating.
And
Oh
50%
no, I
of
believe
men,
that. I'm just
50%
saying
of
that
women
we
in
think
relationships.
when it's a woman, we think that's crazy that she gave it to temptation. When it's a man, it'd be like, well, you know how men are. No,
We could,
like, nah,
Yeah,
it's the
we
same
we
thing.
can break that down into childcare. We always have it that men are bad parents. When you have some horrible mothers, but we don't talk about that.
True.
We don't talk about that because they have
Yeah, so
custody,
it's the
we
double
don't
standard.
talk about
So,
that.
but this is my philosophy is that double standards is actually what is the equalizer in our society,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Women have a leg up in 1, 2, 3 situations,
Mhm.
and when it comes to interacting with a man can't beat her at that.
Mhm.
So in turn, there becomes a leg up for men in these other 3 situations.
Mhm.
But that's life in terms
Yeah.
of how we operate,
Exactly.
consciously. It's like
Exactly.
you get to do something. Oh,
Yeah.
but when I can, so I can't do that. Well,
Yeah.
fine. So I go on this side and create a roadblock
Exactly.
that says that benefits me and
Yeah.
doesn't benefit you.
Because we can have all the girl power we want when it's issues towards men. But like, say a man says he wants to express himself, be emotional.
Mhm.
Now it's like, man up, bitch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's never no,
There's
oh, damn,
no
you know
room.
what? I hear you.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. I feel like we do this thing where we start very young telling boys not to express themselves. They can't be scared. They can't be sad. The only emotion we allow them to feel openly is
anger.
anger,
Yep.
right? And then when they're adults, we're like, well, why aren't you showing the emotion?
Mhm.
Now, of course, that's not the person that you're in the relationships
Mhm.
issue, but that's how you were raised. That's the only thing
Right.
you're comfortable showing. So every other emotion still comes out as anger.
Yeah.
But I know people that know this and then still do that with their son.
Yes.
Like they can know it and be like, "You a boy, you ain't supposed to be crying," but then gonna go home and tell your man,
Mhm.
like, "I need you to show
Be
some
some
emotion."
emotion. Right.
You know, and
but
that's a conversation that we need to have.
Mhm.
But it just triggers me when people do the,
I hate it.
men. Well, men aren't able to.
No. Listen,
Two?
I think
They're not
I
toddlers.
think you're 100% right. I think what's important to also understand though is how temptation is real
Mm-hmm.
and how these situations play itself out. And that's the
Mhm.
scenario I was giving to Ant before we got started. Like with this girl, Brittany,
Mhm.
and it's an assumption. I don't know her personally, but one of the ways I could see this working out is when she engages a guy, she doesn't have that same energy that she has online.
Mhm.
So by the
Mhm.
time the guy gets to know her a little bit, she comes up on it because she's very attractive. She's not the same person. That's just how she be putting on, and
That's
her persona.
that's her
Yeah.
persona. But she's really sweet and she's nice, and we're dating. And 2 years in, now you got her pregnant, and the cycle repeats itself.
Mm.
So I'm more annoyed at the anticipation of another guy who's going to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It'll be unaccountable. And
And do but she tricked me.
Right,
No,
no.
it was all
See,
there,
but what
and
was
I
more
couldn't
egregious
say
is
no.
the
Yeah.
fact that it's already happened to a younger person.
But
Right.
here's the thing, right? So we can look at it on the level of non-gender,
Mhm.
that men are just like women that try to make themselves the exception.
Oh, I
I'm
think people
going
do that
to-
in most relationships. Because if you look at anytime you come into a relationship and you see someone a pattern,
Mhm.
or if you know a lot of their past, nobody looks at themselves like that person will do the same thing to me. You're always going to look at yourself and feel like I'm the difference here. I'm the difference in that person. Now,
that's-
sometimes you're wrong and sometimes you're right,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
Like
that's more
sometimes you're
common
wrong. That's very common. I
in
think.
women, though.
You think so?
I think more women are more acceptable to saying,
To doing the
I can
I'm not,
make
but
this
not
guy
with
better,
me.
but not men. Men
Well-
don't really look at women and say, I can
make
make this woman better. But there
You're
are
right.
some men out there that do think
But
like that.
okay, so here's the thing.
Mhm.
When you just said that, you
Yeah.
know why? Because, and this is, I'm gonna say mostly Black women.
Mhm.
We're told to work with the potential.
Mm.
That's why we have to come into this situation saying, well, he's got this and this. I could make the rest, right?
Mhm.
And on one hand, we keep being told by people, your standards are too high.
Mhm.
Take this potential and make
And
it
work with
into
it.
it. And then when it fucks up, we're like, well, I mean, you knew what it was.
Mm.
Why did you go into it
I hear that.
saying,
I think that's
Um,
one angle. I think the problem is the fact that why do y'all think y'all can make somebody better?
Because
but we're told to.
We're
We
taught to.
especially so there was, and I wish I could
That's
find
part
the
of the
video.
problem.
I wish I could find the video for you guys. There was a woman
I'ma
doing an
find it.
interview
Tell me.
on the street. She was just showing very random different ages and races of women. And she went to all of them and say, how important is financial stability in a relationship? Every single white, Hispanic, Indian, Hindu, Asian woman said it is very important in a marriage. Almost every Black woman said, well, as long as he's not a bum, I'm gonna work with him. Like, because we're taught if he's gonna be there, make it work. Like, whatever is the little bit, like there's one or two good
Yeah,
things.
but I think that's reflective of our diaspora.
I know, but
Mm.
we're all, and you got to think how many people you knew was like, think about like, well, grandpa did all this, but he came home. Like, as that's the
standard.
That's the standard
Yeah,
right
and he
there.
came home.
And then
I got like 20 other siblings
yes,
I ain't never
and then
meet.
you have those,
But he
and then
came home.
the men that come from that family be
But
like,
what house
well,
did he
my
stay at the
grandmama,
most?
my grandmama stayed. She was crazy. That's not, but they're
She
looking.
ain't have nowhere else to go.
She ain't have nowhere else to go. She couldn't read. It wasn't no Instagram. She didn't know what she was doing. Like,
She definitely couldn't find another brother because he probably knew him.
yes,
They all
it
lived
was
in a
very
small
different
town.
Thing, but then wanting that kind of, I'm gonna stay no matter what, comes from the, either if it's a Black man and he has a job, you better hold on, kind of thing. And
Yes, I
the
remember that.
generations before us were very much told that to, like, if you're gonna come home, you ain't gotta come home every night. But if you're gonna come home most of the time, if he has a job, you better just grab that because you won't get another one. So those women taught their daughters that. And then those women, like, they have it and it keeps passing down. And then you get to certain different families and then you have those women who are like, absolutely not. I don't care what your potential is. Meet me where I am. And those women get told, you're out of
Lower
line.
your standards.
You're looking for too much. Why is it if I'm sitting here next to Sarah and me and Sarah got the same requirements, but Sarah got blonde hair, I'm looking for too much? Because what it means is we're holding Black men to a lower standard of how he can come to us. And if anything, I feel like as a black, you should be insulted. Like, this all you could do? I guess I'll take that. Like,
And I've actually seen that happen.
like
When have you ever seen
you
the
know what I mean?
videos where the white girls, they'll literally say that they can't bring a black guy home because their family doesn't believe that he has enough to take care of me, or that he's not good enough. So other races and cultures do already indoctrinate that in the mind of women who don't look like us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do bring one home, and they're like, what does he have for you to bring him to my doorstep?
But here's the thing. So, like we've talked about this, I grew up in a very different place. So I have at least half of my friends are white, and most of them are in interracial relationships. Almost all of my friends, but including my own family. So I didn't know that other black parents weren't telling their kids that there's no, he's coming, and my dad's not saying, what does he have? But what is it? Like, are you able to take care of her the way the family is? All of my friends' parents are the same way. But I talk to other black women who are like, he comes and he takes care of his kids, the other kids he has. So, that means he's a good guy. Why is the standard so low from then a suitor that could show up at anyone else's house? And I'm not just saying money, I'm just saying stability, period.
Mhm.
Think about who you would want to come talk to your daughter. You're not going to have her standard of, does he have some potential? Is he think? You're not going to say that. You're not going to want him to just be like, you're going to want him to come absolutely correct. But I see the same men who say she's asking for too much would want that for their daughters. Like, you don't want you coming for your daughter.
Listen, with everything you said, I think it all sums up to that question right there. Is, would you be the man that you would want your daughter to date? And,
exactly.
And I remember when I heard that question, I've heard it numerous times, but I could think like maybe 5-6 years ago, and I thought about, okay, and I that's actually one of the metrics I've used to improve myself.
And I think more people should do that.
Right. So say, okay, all right, yeah, in general, yeah, but you know what? There are these
couple of
3, 4
things here, like
here.
if you like me, would I
Yeah.
want me ringing my doorbell asking for my daughter? And most men can look at themselves when they ask that and be like,
nah.
Right.
But you want someone else to take someone else's daughter to be like, it's good enough.
Yeah. No, I took that serious.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to say yes to that question
Yes.
was important for me.
I think it's
that's
super
a crazy
important.
question to get asked and not be able to say
And not
yes.
be able to say yes
very
right away.
telling.
Yes, because then you got to
Very
look
telling.
like, so.
But I want to say this because I feel like the standards have completely changed of what women will accept as good enough to come to their doorstep. Because my mother, my father, who worked for FNL for 30 years, retired, had a good job, considered having a good job.
Mhm.
My dad is genuinely a really great guy.
Mhm.
Now, if my dad was to come to some of these women's doorsteps, they would reject him because when he first met my mother, he didn't really have anything but a house.
Mhm.
His kids from his previous marriage, and he was a guy who just was a blue collar guy.
Well, look at the way you said that though. When we first met him, he didn't really have anything but a house. You mean when you first met him, he had a house?
Right.
Yes, but I'm saying in comparison to what the modern women of these days would expect a man to come to them with, he's not a millionaire. He wasn't a millionaire. He had his house and his kids from his previous marriage, and he had a good job. My dad is someone that a lot of women would be like, no.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that we're doing this thing where we're exaggerating, saying, "Oh, she wants a millionaire," when she says, "I don't want to date somebody broke," and they're like, "Oh, so now you want? Maybe I just want someone in my income bracket, right? Maybe I just want to see someone like." And I don't think that's but for some reason, when a black woman says my income bracket or above, it's like, oh, she's going too far. Every single other race will say he's got to make more than. Well, it's like we're saying we love black women, but also saying your value isn't as high as the next woman for you to demand as
We
much.
don't have the
It's
representation.
it's way
But
harder
but
for
our
men.
numbers are different.
You're
Our
right.
economic
So,
numbers are very
Which
different.
is why then women have to make the choice of, you can say this is what I want, right? But then you can look at the dating pool and you may change something depending on if you really like someone and they meet everything else. But to tell people you can't start here, you need to start down here. Why? Like, why do we have to start down here and saying, because then what you're telling me is the majority of you are down here. And that's not true.
But it's the
When it-
dynamics from the dynamics back in the day, I think it's totally different now. And I don't think a lot of the women today would engage in the dynamics that the women back then took in consideration. Back then, they matched up, not based on looks, but they matched up strategically. Today, you couldn't do that. Now it's, oh, she don't want to date him because he might be goofy, be lame,
Not tall
whatever.
enough.
Okay, but here's
Exactly.
my question. I got a question because this is something we've been having this conversation, Adrian and I do not understand something. Why do we keep like devaluing the woman's attraction to a man?
Woo, 'cause
It'll
you
be
can't-
like,
you can't
I'm
not devalue
confused.
mine.
They'll be like,
We don't
well,
devalue.
oh, y'all will say,
Explain what you mean.
it's like, she'll be like, that's not the kind of guy that I'm attracted to, whether type. And they'll be like, but he's this and this and this and this, and he likes you. He's attracted to you. I still don't like him. He
And?
can be all of that, and I'm still not attracted to him. Why is my attraction less than his? Because he likes me, and he's generally a good guy. You should
So
go
therefore,
for
I
it.
should like him and be attracted to him.
But that's not
because we have these confusing messages.
so let me tell you this other thing. That same guy that likes that girl, who he's a nice guy, he says, right? And why doesn't she like me? Because I don't fit this. There is another girl who isn't as attractive as that girl who likes him, who he is currently ignoring. And I'll be like, why don't they hug?
Okay, but
Why don't
But
so
but
why
that's
is
that's
your-
But
but that's why
is
you're
it
devaluing your
that's-
attraction.
But
is
that's
much
why
better
that's
now.
why
No, you
our
can't use
attraction
that
means
argument.
less.
You can't
you
use
like
that
what you
argument.
like.
You can't use
But
that
that's not
argument.
fair.
Because
That's what
men-
Let me tell you why.
We
Tell you
just
why.
said
I
the
gotta go
woman
be
who
with an
like-
ugly girl.
But why I gotta go be with
That's a
the
flawed- That's a flawed argument to use.
That's your problem.
You know it, Adrian.
That's a
Because
flawed argument.
because here's the thing. You're saying he's attracted to her. She's saying this is not the type of person I'm attracted to. He's like, but I'm a nice guy and I have this job, whatever. I'm not attracted to you. There is every time there is that dynamic, 9 times out of 10, there's another woman on the other side who is, I am attracted to him. And he's like, she not my type. But,
So
but
what you-
wait,
hold on,
hold
what
on,
you
let me
take?
finish.
You
Let me finish. So
You
now
getting
when
into
she's
this one.
when she's not your type, you're like, no, this ain't it. But we'll try to convince the other girl on why she should give you a chance. Because her not attractiveness, she's not attracted to you. But you have all the reasons why you're not attracted to
want me
shorty
to go,
over here.
So you want me to go through that same experience with the shorty that's going to try to convince me?
No, what I
why
want
should
you
go with Oompa
no,
Loompa?
what I want
Come
is
on.
no,
I
what
don't like Oompa Loompa.
okay, if she don't like Oompa Loompa either. But what I'm saying is
Somebody's got to give.
no,
goddammit.
No, what you
And
do
I don't. It's
It's
always
hard.
the woman.
Wait, well, no, y'all don't understand.
Someone's gotta give.
Instead of trying to convince this person why I am a match, why don't you just find 2 people who like each other?
No, yeah, you got to just play
Like,
again.
yes, you
That's all-
gotta play again.
just play
You don't
again.
just
That's
be
all it
like,
boils
nah.
down
You ain't like, nah, you should like me because this, and this, but I don't.
But
Like,
Yeah,
I
okay.
get it, but I don't.
I know. Okay, I'm going to talk at the end.
Anthony, you say your point.
Yeah, I do not understand this because I'd be like, well, I just find a girl that like you.
Oh.
Like,
Because it's a
like,
flawed argument. Because
why?
men are they're the ones who seek a woman. If
Uh-huh.
a man is more interested in a woman,
Mhm.
more than likely that relationship is going to work out because
Right.
he's over infatuated with that woman.
Yeah,
So the guys the women that you're chasing, you know you're going above and beyond for. The
Okay.
women that like you, you're not going to go above. They're not going to go above and beyond.
I'm confused.
You're not going to go above and beyond for that.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
I have a different perspective.
okay.
I used to think that way.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I went through a whole tornado in my
Mhm.
hurricane. It was an
Mhm.
earthquake, a tornado, a sandstorm, a blizzard, and a tsunami, right?
Mhm.
So I used to think that way because
earthquake.
that was how we're socialized.
Mhm.
Men are hunters. Men should go get the woman. And there was this idea that the woman is supposed to like you if you take the initiative to go
Yeah.
after
And that's
her.
all that matters.
And
is you
that's-
made that
right.
initiative and
And
I
that's-
like you.
And
Now
that's
I
more
gotta
than
like you
enough,
back. That's
right?
not
like,
enough.
Like that's supposed to be enough. Now, so what? And I can remember, and it's gonna sound crazy, but it's just true. I can remember being bewildered, like, so no, you're not gonna talk to me,
like look at what I
so
just did.
I just made the effort to talk to you,
Right.
and you gonna turn me down.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why it was, for me personally, trying to holler at a woman is not the easiest decision for me to make.
Mm-hmm.
When I make a decision to holler at a woman, I have made a decision,
Right.
right? And if it don't work out, I'll be like, okay, I go back in my little turtle shell and
Right.
go there. But what I have come to realize that I think that does work well, and I think men should be more open to, is to like the women that like them. So I have a very good friend, my music partner, Lawrence.
Why you said that man's name?
He's
can't say
my
his
brother.
name.
It's all right, right?
Is he on the
So-
run?
No, he's not on the run.
Okay.
He's not on
Well,
the run.
immigration.
I ain't want feds coming
Right.
to the door for Lawrence.
So-
We good.
So there, but I mean, he's okay with it. There was a girl that he liked, and she kept on playing games with him, right?
Mhm.
And there was another girl that was interested in him, and I said to him, I said, hey, a lot of times we're taught to go chase and to go after this girl and spend time there. I said, you should give the woman who likes you more of an opportunity, and you will find that there's an easier path to that than what you may think. They're married.
So, but I mean,
So,
okay.
wait,
So I think
so-
I understand
so
what
there
you're
was
saying, but
something that happened in
I'm
between-
assuming that that he had some type of attraction to her.
Yes, he
But
did
that's
like
what I'm
her.
saying. It only
He
if there
liked-
is not a mutual attraction, you cannot
Right, then you
want
gotta
to.
play
Yeah,
again.
you just gotta let
gotta-
it go. You can't be like, well, I have all of this and I like you, so that's enough.
Right.
No,
So of
it's
course, there's
not.
still the other things were still in place.
Yes.
But the point that I was making to him and that he received well was, if do you like her? Do you find her attractive? Yeah. Would you talk to her? Yes. But there is somebody that was in the number
Blocking.
one slot,
Mhm.
and he's trying to give all that energy there.
Yeah, I
But
get
she
that.
has already asserted that, hey, I'm into you. And she's like, yeah, we'll talk about this other chick. I said,
Mhm.
listen, give the person who's interested in you, if you also have any level of interest in them, some time,
Right.
and look at what that may go. You'll find that to probably
I
be an
think
easier
men are
path.
taught to go for like the most unattainable. Like they're like go for the top, like go for like
But not
or the-
unattainable, though. I
well-
wouldn't call it unattainable. To go for what they want, to go for the attractive woman. And
But
if they like
okay,
what
and
they
I'm
like.
fine with that. But if it's not there, there isn't something wrong with her. It's
That's-
just not there. Like that's you cannot expect that because
But-
I'm interested in you.
But this is where,
There should be a reciprocal.
but this is where I think it's
thing.
fragile for men.
Mhm.
Right? Is that women, and so I think there are two sides to this. There's a side that men need to work on, and then there's a side that women need to be cognizant of.
Mhm.
Some women have this thing where they make you feel as if you're not good enough. And I'm always telling that to Adrian, that
Mhm.
part of the big problem that in this interaction in relationships is women make men feel you're not good enough.
Mhm.
And it goes back to the standards, to what they're looking for, to you said you read something to me. We don't know how true it was, but it's on social media. We don't know what how anything how true it is nowadays. But the girl refused to date with the guy because he was 6'3"
Oh.
instead of 6'5", right?
Yeah.
So you hear these
Well, she
hear
was
these
6'1".
stories, and then you have these
Like these,
experiences.
like
I get it,
Yeah.
but it does it hits a guy.
I
And it's kind of like,
I understand what you're saying, but
I'm not
when Adrian and I
good enough
talked
because of
about this
those
thing.
reasons.
Adrian and I talked about this thing earlier. If I see a guy and I like him, and he says, "I only date thick girls. That's what I like," right? I'm not going up to talk to him
and ain't nothing you can do about it.
because I'm not about to convince him why I am. You should, but them girls don't have. I'm not. You already told me. But men will see a woman who says, "I like this, this, and this," and then go to convince her why she doesn't need that. Why you don't just leave that alone? That's
But-
the part you don't need to have then.
But Adrian
Like,
has put me up on something which I do think is profound, though,
Yeah.
which is your type is not your type.
no, no, but listen, she may come to a point where she changes her mind because she meets someone who makes her change her mind. But it's not because he convinced her why those things didn't matter. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not because some guy was like, "Oh, you think you want that, but you really want." That's not how it happens.
No,
We
I
have,
agree.
you
I
understand?
agree.
We may say, "This is the thing I want," and then meet that guy, and all of that shit fly out the
I
window,
right out the
and
damn
then right out the
like-
window, you don't even remember that. But it's never the guy who was like, no, let me tell you why you don't need that. And you got all these
You don't need-
standards that you
listen,
know that
you don't
it's
need them
never
extra
him.
2
It's never
inches.
him. It's
I
never him.
am 5'10". You don't need them
That's
extra
not
2
how
inches,
it happens.
girl.
If there is, I
You might
also
not.
noticed that. I also noticed,
Answer,
and
she
I
might
think
not.
I also
She
want to
might
ask you
not.
something. Are you
Everybody
are
can't
you
get a
blushing?
Brian Pumper, right?
Are you blushing?
I was talking about
Are
here.
you
Yeah, real,
talking
right?
about here?
Here.
I feel like the
Oh, you were talking. You meant height.
yeah, she was saying
Oh, oh, oh.
He said, I said he was 10.
yeah,
You don't
said
need those
those
extra 2 inches to
That's
be
what she
6
said.
foot.
Oh, I count all my.
Can't stand Ja. I
I'm
cannot
6'5".
stand Ja.
I'm 6'5".
Yes,
Don't
almost.
blame me, you're 6'8".
Lacey just said, yes, Lacey said, I miss that. I'm living that now. I almost missed a great guy. Right. So, but that also was in that situation because I
But she
saw it and
made
I was
that
there.
decision.
She
Made
made
that
that decision.
decision, right.
He
He
was
couldn't
not
convince
a like trying to convince her like he was there and available and interested and we all liked him. And she's like, that's not my type. But as she got to know him, that totally changed. But it wasn't a him like, well, that's not what you should be looking for.
Right.
What you
He
should
can't-
be
right, I
looking
get
for
what
is
you're saying.
me.
can't make that
He
happen.
just had a really good vibe that all of that
But-
went out
but
the
here it is,
window.
Who does that?
Here it is.
Which guy does that?
Oh, a lot of
A
guys.
lot of them.
Goes out and say you should date me, like harass people to date them.
No.
No,
what
no,
they
no, no,
do is go into this whole thing of berating about y'all are choosing the wrong kind of men because y'all looking for this instead of
But
this.
it's true
But
though.
you don't choose wrong.
But why?
Statistically, y'all
but
do
why?
choose wrong.
But I
But
get
who
what you're
does people
saying.
in a relationship with?
But-
So wait a second.
But we
So
can't
if
make
it-
that. We can't make
You can't make
come
the
to that
choice.
realization.
Just how I just said, why you not choosing that girl that do like you? You said
Accountability.
I don't like her. That's it, right?
Mhm.
He just said
I like
it.
this one.
What you like that one?
I like this
but
one.
if there's a girl over there who's like, at the same time as y'all started dating, she was like, but I really like you. Now you gotta like her because she like you more. Why? She could have a whole bunch going on, but you like what you like.
Well, don't.
And then that's okay.
Okay, but that girl
Yes.
is always the girl that get on social media and talk about why she finds crap ass men.
Shit.
But so
guess
is
what?
that guy.
No.
No,
So
but
she
so
don't
is
need to
that
say
guy.
shit. She need to be quiet.
Oh, you
That's
talking
what
about?
I'm. That's
you
what
talking
she
about?
need to do.
But why?
Because she doesn't need. If she's choosing bad and then complaining about it, and somebody's saying, "Hey, you're choosing wrong," isn't she choosing wrong?
Okay, so let me ask you something.
Whoa.
You just said those.
What are we
You
talking
said
about?
those women. Man, he
Well,
just said.
you
Whoever
were
you was
saying-
No, I'm just saying.
Whoever you was pointing at, I know there's a picture right there. Whoever she was
You
pointing at.
picture
feel like
somebody in your
over
mind
there.
and you jab her in the eye a couple
Yo,
times.
wait a second,
You
wait
ain't
a
gonna
second.
stop choosing
That's
wrong.
But wait a
imaginary.
second,
That's the
he
audience
said-
member. over
He
there.
said those people are choosing wrong statistically. They're in a relationship with the wrong people. So I said, if those women are in a relationship with the wrong man, isn't that man also in a relationship with the wrong woman?
Yeah.
That's a double choice. That's not she made this choice and now that man is no. He also made the choice and they're not in. If it happens to be, but we also do this thing with if you didn't choose me and then this relationship that you went into after didn't work out.
Listen.
Look at what you did, but you should run. No, it
No,
just
no, no.
that wasn't you. Like
Right.
it just still
That
wasn't
actually-
you.
That actually happened to me.
Yeah, it just still wasn't
And
you.
listen, one of my exes said, "Look, I'm ready to be with you now." And I said, "Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. I'm with someone right now.
Yeah.
If that shit don't work out, I'm gonna be so mad because you should have chose me." No,
I still, even if the other relationship doesn't work
No.
out, that doesn't mean you should have chose the person
Right, right.
that
They're
because you
not
still.
contingent on one another.
Yes, they're not
totally
contingent on
different
one another. That still doesn't mean that. That just because
So-
she still didn't like him.
things. So,
like,
but no, I agree with you because
Yeah.
if I'm in the same situation, even with
Yes.
what you're saying, Aunt,
yeah,
if I keep making comments and I'm saying, "Oh, women are this and women are that, and they don't need this, and this is how it's working out," and a woman comes along and I'm gonna call her Oompa. So Oompa comes along, right? And Oompa's like, oh, I know the problem is you keep choosing the wrong woman. You need to choose a woman like me. I'm gonna be like, I am probably choosing wrong,
but it's still
but
not you.
but you will still be choosing
It's
wrong,
still
right?
not
Right.
you.
So it's still not Oompa.
Yes,
So
it doesn't
unfortunately,
mean like if she doesn't choose you and the new
can
relationship
I
doesn't
apologize
go
to
to-
Oompa? Oompa, I'm sorry.
He's
bro.
sorry, Oompa. We don't even know Oompa.
They gonna be out there with picket signs.
They're gonna be like, Bossy Live is politically incorrect.
Oompa.
there's no picture. We don't even know who she looks like.
Hey, I should create a
Everybody know who she looked like us. He was talking to her over there. So he know what she looks like.
Hey, I'm gonna create a whole page with Oprah.
Oprah, right?
She will have her own
But
profile.
I'm like,
The
I
ugly
understand
chick.
what you're saying. You may think that, hey, I liked her. She didn't choose me. She got into this relationship and this guy dogged her out. So it she didn't choose me means that she would choose. No, she still didn't like you.
But I get
You
your
understand what I'm
point.
saying?
She has to discover that on her
On
own.
her own.
No
And
man
her
can convince
wrong
her that.
choices, them being wrong choices, doesn't make you the right choice.
Thank
Right.
you.
That's all that I mean. Like you can make choice after, because here's the
She
thing.
can
People
choose
will
wrong
say
7 more times.
and it's still her total right.
And still
Fall
choosing
down
you.
7, get up 8.
Because
so when
if it's
okay,
not-
so
I
there's
don't know
no
why it's 8
accountability.
though, 'cause you only
But
saw
who does she have to be
7.
accountable to?
No, but I'm
Only
just saying.
herself.
But
She
there's
don't
no
have to be accountable to the
accountability,
guy
right?
she said no to. There's no accountability
There
to
is
him.
no accountability.
So
to
hold on.
him.
So
Okay,
there, so
but that
there's
sounds
not
like,
a, there's
but that
not
sounds
a,
like 2 different issues though.
but,
Right.
but I'm just saying there's no accountability, right?
But what? How?
So I think there's
To
2
who?
issues though. I think you're right in that she may not be accountable
Yeah.
in her choices.
Yeah, but she has to be accountable for herself, right?
Right.
Okay. That's
Only
what I'm saying.
herself. But it has still that is totally separate from the guy she said no to. He has no play on the board here. You just wanted in on this game. You didn't. The game went. You like it's because you didn't choose me. No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, I'm
It's
saying
not.
because you saying that it doesn't matter how many times she chooses wrong. I'm saying there's got to be an accountability if she's choosing over an excessive.
Okay. No, I understand
Wrong
what you're saying.
amount.
But her choosing what we're calling wrong, if the relationship ends, if it doesn't, because what are we saying is wrong? They had a relationship 2 years and then it doesn't work out. So she
No.
chose wrong.
You know
I'm
what it's
saying
like?
I'm saying a post. When I was pointing over there, I said she's the same one making random posts every time a situation goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says you're choosing wrong, it's not highlighting or demeaning her. She might have to look in herself. Listen.
Right.
I know,
But,
that
does,
part I
but does that
understand.
make that guy the right choice? for
That's
her?
what
But
I'm saying.
that's what I'm saying.
So y'all talking
I
about
get
two
that,
different
but
things.
that's what I'm saying. So you got to take accountability in yourself.
To yourself,
Yes.
but it still
But-
has nothing to do with the guy you didn't choose.
I
How
understand that.
she takes accountability for herself is to now develop a process where she chooses better each time.
And it
And-
still doesn't mean it's the guy
And
who
it's
liked her.
still and it still and
I
she
think-
still might not get it
I
right.
think Aunt just wants her to be quiet.
Yes. But it still does
Or
it
just choose the person he thinks you should choose.
or deactivate
But
her
that's not how
Facebook.
that works.
Deactivate your Facebook.
But that's
I think
not
you want
how that.
Oprah.
That's not
to-
how that works.
to
It
stop.
can't be like, oh, these relationships
I'm just-
messed up, and this guy liked you,
I'm
so
just-
that's who you should. That still
Well,
don't mean
but
that's
you know
who
what
she
it
should
is
have
though.
dated.
You know what it is. I think people. So I have this whole little thing where I say people know their number,
Mhm.
right?
That's what we're talking about, the rubric.
Everybody knows their number.
Mhm.
1 through 10, 1 through 100, whatever your number is. You know if you were 5.
Yep.
You know if you were 6. Even the whole famous viral thing
Brittany.
about
It was
with
Brittany.
Kevin
She's-
Samuels.
she
with
was
Kevin
average.
Samuels, where
Yeah.
she was like,
I'm a
she said that she was a 5 in the face, and when she gets herself together, she's like a 6, right? So she's average. She self-identified as average,
Mhm.
so she knows. Now she later went on another show with the couple who does matching, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm a 10." See, the problem is, right? So my
she
good
knows
friend
damn
Ricky,
well she not a 10.
Ricky has said it perfectly. If every woman is a 10, that means every woman is also a 0
Mm.
A
because
one.
it cancels out.
Yeah, we can't be.
You can't all be a 10. That means you're also all a 1.
Mm.
Because if you balance, if everyone is leveled out at 10, then 10 has now become the new 1.
Mm.
Right. I agree with you. But
That means
when we
that
were
all
talking
men,
earlier-
all men provider bank accounts should be considered as high value men. All of them who make from 0 figures to over 6 figures. If all women are 10s,
Right. Then all
Then all
money
men-
is
all men
all
are
men are
high
high value men.
We were talking about that earlier
That's
because
probably why
you
they all
said
think they
people
are.
you were talking about how people know their number. And I said, all I feel like a lot of that kind of argument would stop if you know if you can afford to date that person. And I don't mean financially.
I know. People
I
need to have a
mean,
wristband with
Yes,
their number.
I feel like you
No.
know if you match that person, like you know if you can afford financially with your attractiveness, with your emotional availability,
Right.
what you have to offer. Don't talk to me like you got more interest than you do. Like, and I'm not talking about height. I wasn't talking about height. You know what you bring to the table to who you're talking to.
Right.
So if you know I'm here, but I'm going here and I'm gonna be mad if I don't get it. You knew you should have been over here.
So-
and I think people usually know that. And I mean that for men and women.
I
You look at a
100% agree
room
with you.
and you
People
know.
people
But
know
then
their
you
number.
you shoot higher, and then if you miss, you're like something wrong with them because no, it's not. You knew you wasn't supposed to be in that section. You don't even go here.
The VIP is closed.
You don't even
You
go
weren't supposed
here.
to be in
that
Where's
section.
your wristband?
Can we talk about how people come up with their numbers?
But
People
then-
know.
But then people get mad at Kevin Samuels for pointing it out.
No.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
mad at
Oh,
him.
I'm
Let me
not mad.
explain something.
I'm not mad at
my,
that man.
my Kevin Samuels thing is one. Most of the men who repost his videos do not ever look first at what they're like. See, because the high value man, and I say, do you meet his definition of high value man? Because you're sharing his video, saying he knows what he's talking about. And then when they look at his definition, 95% of them do not meet who he's talking about. So when you're
100%.
sharing
Yeah.
his video and you're saying he got it, he ain't talking about you.
Yeah.
He's not talking about the kind of woman you deserve. He is clearly telling you if you don't meet this is not for you. But the men sharing it saying he got it right, I'm like, homie, he ain't talking about for
He's
you.
literally telling
Like
you
he's
that-
literally telling you this not for you, for these men. And the men that are in this, you know what they're doing? Not listening to Kevin Samuels because they don't need to.
But
They
Right.
don't need
Right.
they don't need I need somebody to put these women in their place so they know what their worth is. They absolutely do not need that shit. They don't pay any attention to that shit at all. It is only the men who do not fit in that definition are like, look, he's right. He ain't talking about you, homie.
But-
he ain't talking about
but
what
that-
he's not talking about your situation and the women you should choose. He's not even talking about you. And they skip that part of what he's saying about who they need to be to have the right to make these decisions. They skip that part and go to but look at what he's saying about these women. I think you're missing the big point that he's making is if you're these
think-
women.
I
But
think
yeah,
both
if
points
a man
are
if a man
important.
doesn't sit back and acknowledge both sides, then that's just a whole different topic.
But that's not what's
no man
happening.
is,
That's not
man's going to do that.
But
A
what
lot
I'm
of them
saying
do
is
not do that.
they're not looking at that part first because that's not the part that feels good to them. What
Yes.
feels good is you finally telling these women who rejected me that they weren't all that anyway.
But that
But-
goes back to the whole.
but-
thing
but
that
he
struggle
would-
with this thing of women doing this thing where you're not good enough.
I know,
But
but
they're
what
not good enough.
But what I'm saying is
to
well,
be a
they
high-value
like
man.
that part of it. Like they like that part of it. Like, oh, he's telling her she a 5. I knew that. And they think they this. And I keep saying, but
But
are
you
you
a 5.
listening to no, but what I'm saying is, are you listening to he's saying she's not a 5 to you? She says she a 5 to this section of men, and you don't fit in this section of men.
Yeah, but
Like, so I don't think that they're
No,
listening
I get what
because
you're
they
saying.
like the part that says, now we're telling you you're not good enough. Nah, he's saying that she's not good enough for him, not
Right.
for you.
Right. I get what you're saying.
And then so what I'm saying is you're saying he not saying something wrong. I bet, but he ain't even talking to those people that say he ain't saying nothing wrong.
Not at
the
all.
people that he talking to ain't watching his videos because they ain't gotten this trouble. They don't
but-
need
but
help
that's the thing.
discerning on the women that meet their level. They don't.
And you know what else? Women who don't meet their level are not even in the spaces where they are. They're not in there. First of all, if they're a high value man, they're not. One, I know for a fact, tall, dark, handsome, black guy who makes over 6 figures, no big woman who's out of shape, who got 5 kids is coming up to that man talking about something. But
Oh, 'cause
Donald,
you know her number.
but we went to school together, and no,
you
he's
ain't
not-
never give me a
he-
chance.
she's
I'm
never
not gonna
even.
knock. She knows
she's
her
a number.
number. But I think that more like I that's the thing that I'm always confused at because at this time it is very much a time of men saying, but why not? Well, we got to talk about it because the thing is, if you're saying, well, the men are made to feel bad that they're not enough, it's because what we talked about earlier. My no is never enough.
Yeah.
A woman's no is always seen as a negotiation point. Like that's the point we start
Oh,
talking.
okay.
I don't want to tell you why.
No,
Why
no,
I can't
that's-
just say
that's-
I'm not interested?
No. There's two different things there. The no's a no. You tell me no.
You.
Okay. I get that.
Not a
You
lot of
get
them.
that.
Not a lot of them. It is always.
But I know my number. I'm like, it's her loss.
No, but you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're saying a no is good enough for you and you're done. That's not normally the case.
Right.
It is
But,
always a more. So then when the woman goes
But
through
it's
this
not
whole
at the
thing, it's
point.
like
but
y'all
I'm
made
not
him
talking.
feel
But
bad.
I'm not talking about the point of the no being a negotiated conversation. What I'm talking about is the presentation of women who are always who have a tendency to depict
Mhm,
a certain attitude about their standard
mhm.
and will let men know that they don't meet their standard, right? And they do it in very obvious ways and to me in very demeaning ways.
Mhm.
Not
Right.
the
Delusional.
Not the
Yes.
very direct, hey, I tried to holler at you and you said no. I unfriended this woman one time, very attractive woman, and she made this post where she was like, oh, all these guys are in my inbox and none of them have a chance. And dot, 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 dot. See, to me, what she just did is, okay, you want to let people know they're not good enough.
Mhm.
To me, it was crass. So that's what I'm saying is there's this presentation that happens in these very direct and subtle ways, not so much with the direct interaction, but with what the energy and the conversation that's
So-
put out
so
there
here's-
about what her standard is. Now, and I was not a guy that was in her
So
inbox.
this is my thing though. So when someone does it, somebody they're putting on that's the persona they're putting on. What I don't understand is, so you see that, and then there are men who'll be like, well, now let me go tell her why this isn't what she should be. Why? Just go ahead.
no,
Like
you're
that's
right.
what I don't
I just went
understand.
ahead.
Like
I
you were just like,
unfriended.
you know what? I'm not this and
Nah,
I'm
I'm-
done. But there are a majority of men, more and more, who are like, I'm looking at this. I feel like she's saying all these men don't meet her standards. So now I need to go tell her why this is the wrong thing. At the end of that, she is not going to change her mind to date you. She's not going to change her mind. That is useless. And it's like, it's your frustration about some other nose you got. Don't worry about it. Y'all was never going to click. Y'all were never
Anyways.
going to click anyway.
Anyways,
Yeah,
right.
so you can just leave that alone, especially if it's a general thing. There doesn't need to be now I need to go tell her why she don't meet that anyway. And
No,
why
I
she
get
need
that.
to change.
For that
You
next
don't.
level,
Yeah, you
and
don't
that,
need
and
to.
women would be able to talk about that
Yeah,
experience.
you could just let that go. But my thing is, when I'm saying that no is a negotiation point, we were talking about how, like, if Adrian and I are out to dinner and we're talking and a guy approaches and we just say no, he's gonna keep talking. If I say I'm waiting for my husband, then he goes. So my husband who ain't here, his maybe presence means more than my no that is right here telling you I'm not interested. You're going to keep going.
And I think
And
that's part of the socialization.
Yeah.
And I do think, and that goes back to the point I said before, men have to be untrained in a lot of the masculine, what we deemed as being what it meant to be a man.
Mhm.
And the messaging has been confusing on both sides for a very long time. Whether it's men don't cry to men are supposed to be assertive, and then when they're assertive, then
But I think
it
that there's
crosses
a
line.
difference between assertive. The assertiveness was that you came over there, right? And you said what you
You
wanted
made
to
a
Oh no,
say.
no!
decision.
I can tell you
appreciate
right now that ain't a man being assertive.
No, what I'm saying is
That's not considered a man being assertive to a woman.
Okay, so listen to the thing.
That's-
If he decided to
that
come
was just
over
intro.
rather than just creep in the corner, and every time I look up, you looking, and now I feel like I need an adult because I'm nervous, right?
I
So
love the way you put that. Now I need adults.
because
around.
I'm like, why this creep keep looking at me
Yeah.
from the corner?
Adults with bad
Somebody, I'm trying to write it on the receipt. Get help. This
Right.
guy's weird. So you came over and you did the thing, but now you're not owed the yes because you came over.
And why are you looking so sad?
Wait, I got a question. I don't know if y'all can hear my baby brother because he's off stage. Do you feel like it's the same in your age group since you're a little younger? And if someone says no, I don't know who should say no to your face, but if a woman says no to you, do you keep going or are you gone? I feel like that.
You're
Right. You know your
That's
number.
what I'm saying. I
You
don't
You know
know.
your number. That's what
I never seen
That's what
men
I'm
talking
do that,
about.
though. I never seen men that do
I,
that.
and so
You tell me no once.
so
Listen.
after, if she's not
That's all I tell 'em.
interested, do you need to find out like what she's choosing instead, and she's choosing wrong because she didn't choose you? Are you just good off of that right there?
They always come back. Let me tell you, bro. That's me. They always
Circle
come
He said
back.
they always come
They always
back.
come
They
back.
they do circle,
Circle the block.
It's the round thing. It's the round thing. They always gonna
They
circle
spin
the
the block.
block.
But you know
They
what
gonna
though?
spin the
Okay,
block.
but that
I
goes
hate
back to
that,
what I'm
too.
saying.
Mhm.
I don't
People
even give them
know
the time
their
of day.
number.
You know I
People
do that.
know
I
their
feel,
number.
but I feel like at this time, and I kind of think it's a social media thing because you see someone, you feel like you have access to them, so now you're forgetting
my
your
God,
number.
I hate that.
So now you forgot
Ooh.
your number,
I'm with you on
and
that
then
one.
I feel like now I don't want to be the mean girl, but you knew you shouldn't have came over here.
You knew it.
But now if I say it, then
I
I'm a
think she
bitch,
hit the nail
right?
on the head
You
with
know what I'm
that
saying?
one.
Because it's like
Yeah.
before you may see these people in passing somewhere, but you couldn't really get to them.
Put this
But
in
now
a
that you
post.
done talked in a few
In
posts,
person,
yes,
you would have
you
never
would
done
have
it.
never thought
Right.
it.
I
But
put it in
now
a post, a
yeah.
whole expose. Like I wrote
You
a
know,
whole
so
essay
now
about it.
that you can
Yeah.
get a little
Yeah, years
closer,
before
you
we
can
dated.
DM, you could put a laughy
Exactly.
face, you could do a
You
whole
don't wanna
thing.
know.
You gotta find
Yeah,
You don't wanna know.
so people think that, oh, I have accessibility that I might not have had if I didn't know you on social media. So now I'm about to take a step that you know you shouldn't have done. And now I'm forced to be like, now you know that wasn't your number. But then after that, now it's like, oh, she thinks she's this. But you know, if you didn't have that little accessibility, you would have never done that.
They mistake accessibility for familiarity.
Yes. Like I saw you on some places and we laughed on a post together. So now I think I'm, and you know you wasn't, because you know if you saw me somewhere else, or if you had just known me peripherally, not have the access to send me this joke or this meme like that, you would never. And
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna repost my article to Bossy.
so the thing is,
that's real good.
so
That's real
but
good.
and now then as a woman, you're caught in that place. Ariana's telling you to smile.
I did.
Now
You don't gotta
as a
smile.
woman,
That
don't
is
let
that
no
is
person tell you to sorry,
objectification.
do not
That is
objectify him
objectification.
and make him smile on command. No. Now you have this thing where you're stuck like, here's the thing. Now, if I tell him, like, now you're not my type, you're not like a thing. Now you feel like, oh, now I got to be the bitch, but you knew you wouldn't have done this.
That's a really good point.
And I think it happens for men too. Like I have spoken to other men to be like, nah, you know, I'm nice to her. We might laugh one post, she says something. Now she talking about something like, now she know better. Now she know better. And then you be like,
I've not had a lot of those experiences, but I've had one where I was like,
why did you do that?
Really?
Yes, and you be
How
like,
did you?
And then when I sometimes I want to ask, but I realize that makes me sound even worse.
Oh, it sounds like
because
I sound like a horrible person.
I know, but I'll be really having the question. We've had that conversation because I'll be wanting to say, but real quick, why you came over here? Was it my outfit? Do I not like? What did I do wrong?
What did I give off?
What did I
do wrong?
What
did I
happened
give
that
off?
made you was like, you know what? I'ma try, and I'd be like, really? What did I do?
No, let me tell you.
I dressed down today,
because I was
didn't I?
friendly.
No.
Yeah,
you were friendly. I like the way you put it though. The accessibility, which breeds which they mistake for familiarity.
Yes.
Leads to them forgetting their number.
Yes.
Because in person they wouldn't do.
They wouldn't have.
Yeah. Because
I honestly think that goes both ways. And
No,
it's like I have access
does.
to you because I don't have to ask you for your phone number to have some conversations with you, right? Before that, share some jokes and some conversation with somebody. You needed to at least get a phone number. You needed to do something. Now all you gotta do is click and say something to anybody. So now you feel like, oh, we're here.
Even if they're not on your friend
Even
list.
if they're not on your friend list, you can still
That's a very
interact
good
with
point.
almost everyone. So you feel like, nah, we're here. I'm in there. And then when they're like, you thought, and then you're like, oh my gosh, why would this person? But you knew better. Most of the time, they knew better, and they knew they wouldn't have normally done that. And then that weirds me out.
Can you also say that social media has also switch the game up to make people who normally don't have the number to now switch their numbers around to fit that number?
Now, to look like a 9 or 10 when they really are 4.
It's just makeup.
So hold on. So here you go.
That's the
Here
filters.
you go with
That's a great point.
you couldn't in person. You have to be a 9 or 10, right? But on social media, my 9 or 10 is now my personality. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm coming at you with my personality more than my looks. So if I'm coming to you and you're like, damn, you know, this dude be saying all the right things. He's funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, I wouldn't talk to this guy normally if he came up to me.
No, absolutely.
But
I think that the social media thing works two ways because it does give you a chance to showcase either whether it's your looks or your personality to somebody again that you wouldn't normally have access to. Maybe you are really funny, really smart, really insightful. You got all these clever things to say, but no one would have known if they without the platform to show it, which is cool. That's cool, but I just don't think that. So now that I see that you have this great personality and I can engage with it, does not mean that now I have a shot in where I normally would not, just because I can get to you with I can get to you with a few keystrokes. Yes, now you know people a little bit more. Like you see a part of them. Yeah.
There's 3 things that I'm saying based on what y'all are saying, which I think are great points. That people who don't have an opportunity to shine can use social media to let their personality, you know, they could express it a lot more, and that could bring them some traffic, right?
Right.
Which is good.
It is definitely good.
But then it also gives access, you know what I'm saying? When everybody gets in the door, Now
Right.
it also
Now,
gives
now
you
who's
access.
the VIP? Because
Right.
none of y'all go here.
Right now, it gives you access to people that you wouldn't normally
Y'all
have
can
access
sit
to,
with us?
and
Yeah,
they overstep their
nothing.
boundaries.
No.
I think the third thing is, which is where I thought you were originally going, but it still adds to your point, is it now gives people an opportunity that would, out in the general world, not be as personable, not maybe be as attractive. To now suddenly they go from Oompa to looking like,
Oh my God! Yo,
Right.
Oompa, we're keeping
Right.
Oompa forever.
right? Like, oh, you know, she's Oompa in real life, but all of a sudden, she start hitting them angles and them filters, and all of a sudden, you got, you know, Meg the Stat. I don't know, you got something else going on. That
I
part,
think that, and I think that
as a man,
but you know what's weird? I
I'm
think
over
that I think that y'all don't know that men definitely catfish too. I can't see her.
Yes, they do.
Off that
Sure, catfish.
oh, that's part of the fish.
both, all of it. We do all of it. Like
All the
that
fish
ain't
in
what you
category.
do.
No.
I know a
Do
girl.
women be shocked when you take off your cap? No, they suspect that you.
That's because you're handsome. If you was ugly, they'd be like, ooh.
Oh, okay. No, the ball. Everybody likes the ball. It's just the ones with the receding. They don't like the receding.
We'd rather you just be
So
bald.
if you're-
We'd rather
if
you
you're-
just be all the way
The
bald.
problem is the
If
problem
you're
is that there's
unattractive-
some men who look good with a hat on,
Yes, that's what it is.
and
And,
then
then
when
they
you
take
take
the
the
hat
hat
off,
off,
and then it'd be like,
Hey.
oh no, honey, that wasn't it. Put that on. Like you got
Yeah.
them. Never mind. The hat fish isn't that you're hiding a bald head. We really don't care if it's bald under
right?
there.
No, yeah,
But
I know that.
it can't. It's just like when somebody has a beard and doesn't have a beard, they look like totally different person, and you're like,
Beardfish.
yes,
Oh, listen.
What you got? Oh, they got the ball.
You said when they take their hat off.
Yeah, when they take the lace front off.
Women,
listen.
women be hatfishing you, though.
See, that's why I told him he's not old enough to date because I don't want women hat fishing him.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Who was hat fishing you? Sister Moretta at church?
Oh yeah.
Right.
They do,
Come
they
off
do.
at the house.
Yeah,
Come
they
off
do.
at the house.
They do. They have the hat attached.
We
the
come
wig,
up at the house
the
and
wig
be like,
attached
Oh,
to
it's
the
a
hat.
wig
Yeah.
fish. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a wig
We
fish.
come
Yeah,
up
the
at the
wig
house
fish.
and
No.
now Craig in there like help.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were
But
a
it does
dude.
happen though. Women,
It does.
no.
But you know what? But here's the thing with that. Like, I think most men know when they meet a woman, is this her hair or not? We're not in that stage where men can't tell. Like, that's a wig that she's wearing. So you're not shocked if her hair is totally
For
different.
white women, possibly. Because
No, they don't
have-
believe that white women wear weaves. I'm like,
No,
yeah,
'cause
they wear them way more than we do.
Yeah.
all the
yeah,
time.
I
They
get
know
now.
that. But I mean, like, it's not now that you see this woman with this 20 inches of body weight. You like when you saw her without, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know. Nigga, you knew? You
Right,
didn't think
right.
that was her?
I think
Sometimes that's the only version of her that she has a lot of placebo.
Yes,
So
yes.
you might be shocked, like, oh,
Right, I get that. And
Yes.
the problem is when you get to start seeing her in other
yeah.
versions
But
is when
see,
you
we
realize
don't-
that she's not.
We're
that
not
attractive.
talking about that one. I don't know if you're old enough, but I'm gonna get you sucker, right? The scene that traumatized me.
What happened
Okay,
in that?
are people
When she
taking
started
off their
pulling everything
prosthetic
off?
legs and
Yes.
shit on? They're not
Yes.
taking off their arm on you. They
Yeah.
not like,
No,
that's
somebody
my
out
arm.
there, somebody out
Right.
there, y'all call
See,
in.
remember I
Oh,
called
y'all
you the other
type
day and I was
in
mad because
and
that
let
man
us
had
know.
one leg and he was talking to me and I wanted to know what I did wrong.
The
See,
man
that
had
was a
one
thing.
leg?
That was a thing. So that was a
You guys
day.
are trying to get a step in your life.
But see, here's the thing. On one hand, it was like, I think I admire your confidence, but also you have one
He
leg.
just
What
wanted
am
to
I
kick it with
giving
you.
off?
So
Like,
you,
What was I giving
so you
off that made him do
You
that?
threw the guy in the trash because he had one leg.
Yeah,
You
I
did that
can't. Like, I was honestly like
They're
thrown.
They're gonna be out here with picket signs.
I
on one
know.
leg.
Yo, I was
Gonna be
so
a lot of people
shocked,
hopping around
like-
with picket signs.
I didn't even know how to say no because I was like,
Dang, you let it, he thought he had one foot in the door.
I hate y'all. I hate y'all. I done really.
You wanted to take you to
And
IHOP.
then she's no help because I'm like,
Dang, girl.
is your
Man,
what
I
did
had
I
a foot in
do
the door.
wrong? And she just going Chevy. I'm like, no, why did
Yes.
he do this to me?
And-
Because he put me in such an awkward situation because you don't want to say no to the one-legged guy, but also why you came over here?
Mm.
Why you hopped
What
over
did I
here?
do?
Let's go to
Like,
IHOP.
what did I do that was like, you know
But-
what, she with it. What
but-
happened?
But
Oh, she
But-
the one.
you make a you make 0 shots you don't take.
but why here? Like I'm friendly, but don't do that.
Listen, he was.
Don't do that.
But that's the thing. Like, who he's supposed to talk to, Chevy?
But
He
why
don't, like, there's not like a one-legged
Yeah.
society.
Y'all are terrible.
Like, who he's supposed to?
Oh,
So
one
he
leg.
can only talk to women with 2 legs. Like, what
Right.
happened to that man?
No, man, it was other girls in there, and I was like, "What I do? Like,
This
what
was in
did I-
person.
Yes.
Ooh, so he really stepped to you.
Yes.
Did he offer you a Captain Morgan at least?
He stepped to
Well,
you.
so here's the thing. First,
Man.
I didn't notice because I was coming from another way, and I be in my own time, and he opened the door for me. So I looked to say thank
So
you.
he had 2 hands.
He had 2 hands, but one
Okay.
leg. So he came in. So
That's a
then
step
once
in
he
the right
came in,
direction.
I was like, oh. So then now you want to come and you want to buy me a drink. All I said was thank you. There's other people in here. You don't got no leg. Why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do? I was just nice, but also it's like, why me? What did you see that was like, you know
Because
what?
you know why you, Chevy? I'm
Because
gonna
she was
tell you why
attracted to
you.
you.
I'm gonna tell you why you.
Probably
Of
had 2
course,
legs.
he's attracted to you, but you are the best person to turn him down. Because another woman would have been like, I know you fucking lying.
But wait, I ain't gonna lie, it was in my head, but I wasn't gonna say it out
Okay,
loud.
but-
So another
but let's-
woman would have embarrassed him,
But
and then
you know
that
what?
man would have
Let's
been
really
hurt.
break this down. Was it really the one leg? Did you find? Was he an attractive fella? Did he have a nice build? Did you get to know anything else about him?
He
No.
had one leg.
It was just the
first
one
of all,
leg.
she
You
remembers
can't get
nothing.
past-
I don't remember.
You
I
can't
was
get
Yeah,
past
he
so
might have had
stuck.
2 legs. Some people come with 3.
They supposed to have 3. I didn't know. I just you're so like, and then
I'm
it's
not
this
doing
weird
this.
thing as he's talking to me, right? Because I don't know where to look. Because I feel like my eyes gonna keep going to like, you don't got no leg, right? So I
Was
don't
he in
know.
a wheelchair?
Huh?
He was wheelchair.
No, but he had a prosthetic leg with shorts on, and I was like,
That's honest. That was transparent, and he was vulnerable.
right, but why
I
me?
commend him for
But
that.
why me? There were already people in
Because
there.
the
Why
other-
me?
the
You
other
certainly kept this conversation short.
I can't.
I hate y'all because y'all not helping me with the
I-
problem.
but I
'Cause
told
wanna
you,
know
Chevy,
why did he
You
come
were
to
you
me?
were the best person
He was
to
attracted
turn
to you.
him down
What?
and not
So
and not embarrass him.
So he was like, "That's my number."
Mhm,
With his one leg,
mhm.
I got to do something different. I got.
Don't you like Limp Bizkit? You
No.
listen to all type of music.
Yes.
Yes.
Chevy, that
Well,
face you just gave Anthony was
I-
horrible. I tell you, and I kid you not, like I don't know what to tell you. Like little people, there's not like a little people society where little people meet up and they're like, oh well, I'll date another
they
little
also
person.
always come up to me. It could be 1,000 people in there.
You never had a
One dwarf in the room. One
You
little
never-
bitch. He come over. Let me talk to you. Why?
You never had a
Why?
You never
No.
had a fetish?
No,
No,
that's
they
not a
don't-
fetish.
First of all,
don't fetishize
I'm,
them. They
I'm
don't like that.
first of
Even
all,
though
I'm
I have one personally.
I'm a little afraid. That's always been a thing for me since I was little.
That's
But
crazy. You
it
like
could be
little
a
people because
room.
I know you dated a lot of big people. Go ahead.
I don't understand. It'd be like, why did you say she's with it? What did I give you just now? I just
Listen, no. I don't think
I don't
that's
know.
fair, though. I don't think that's fair for you to say that. Let me tell you why.
so it ain't me.
No,
he
it
can
can't-
only
it
he
can't
can
be
only
both.
talk to people with 2 legs.
No.
Chevy.
So why
No,
y'all
There's not a room
no, let me
full
tell
of
you
it.
why it's not fair. It's not fair for you to say that because at the end of the day, if we promote that women should walk in their femininity, should be pretty, should be
Mhm.
gracious, should be attractive, and whatever that positive energy is, if
Mhm.
you're walking in that, right,
Yes.
and you're presenting yourself in that manner, and men are going to naturally be attracted to that. at
Okay,
some
but
level.
he's still a
I
man at the end of the
Listen,
day.
understand that. Be
exactly,
attract-
that's where I'm
but
going to
be
go because
attracted.
at the end of the day, he's still a man.
Okay, but so here's the thing: if you're saying, and I'm not talking about him with the one leg, but having that, right, and but also telling people that they should know their number because you see it doesn't mean come over here.
Okay, but let's talk about.
We shouldn't tell our children
Let's-
to aim high then.
So let's talk about how we come up with the
in
number
math.
Wait, aim high,
In math.
absolutely.
in life.
Like in the
Uh,
science fair,
and
not
the
with
science
me.
fair.
I want my kids to be
Wow.
overachievers, but when it comes to dating,
Y'all making me sound bad, but I'm dead. Like yes,
No,
I
it's
want you
last
to
no,
go
last
out
point.
when
be
you
that on the basketball team, but not here, not
No,
with
I get,
me.
but
Like,
that's why I want to talk about
when it
how
comes to
people come up with
personal
their
goals and things that you want to accomplish in life
numbers. Be an
and
astronaut.
places where you want to go
president.
in life,
being an astronaut, be
you
president.
can absolutely aim high. When it comes to personal relationships with people, you gotta aim in your tax
Okay.
bracket.
Right. So I'm happy you made that point, because that's what a big part of what I talk about is that people have allowed what the outside world experience is spill over to what the dynamics of the relationship is,
Mhm.
right? And how we talk about Black people especially. But that's why I also want to talk about how we come up with our numbers, because what happens is if a person, people are going to look at their socioeconomics, their
Mhm.
level of attractiveness,
Mhm.
their height,
Mhm.
their skin tone,
Mhm.
and that skin tone can play out in two ways, whether it's a matter of colorism
Mhm.
or whether it's a matter of just having nice skin,
Mhm.
right? It what their family name is, or their legacy has come from. So you have some people who not that attractive, but because they come from a name that's popular
Mhm.
or well-to-do,
Mhm.
then they feel they get an upper. They feel that's something that adds to their number.
Mhm.
When
But are we? Here's my question: does it not?
it does,
It does.
it does, right?
Yeah.
But what happens
But if
is,
you had a 5 and it gives you 40 points, you still a 45.
right,
It-
but at the end of the day, though, what I'm getting to is if you look at all of these categories,
Mhm.
everybody is going to have different numbers. A person is going to have
Exactly.
different numbers in those categories,
Yeah.
and they're going to come out with a final number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what happens
I
is,
call it a rubric.
what happens in that rubric is a person that determines that I am an 8,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that
That
they're
they're an
8.
eight to everyone.
They're not going to, right, but in their
Yes.
mind, that's going to be, and
Yes.
it doesn't mean that they're 8 necessarily in how they aesthetically, in the symmetry of their face,
Right.
right?
Yes.
It doesn't mean that they're necessarily an 8 in the symmetry of their body,
Mhm.
and that's what it goes to when we talk about the big thing about I'm a PhD. With the woman that Kevin Samuels always
Mhm.
makes fun of, is
Mhm.
because what he was getting at is she has given herself a lot of points, and so she's determined she's a 9
Mhm.
Based on her
because of her
accolades.
educational level,
Accolades.
but then may not have it.
She
lower
might be a
numbers in other
4.
categories. So in reality, what the point I made is, people, when that guy approached you, he may know, not being one-legged
Impaired.
is
He's impaired.
being impaired.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. That is the
That's the
equity
word.
term.
It's the
Right.
same thing with
So
Biggie.
so being impaired may bring him down in the body category, but he still has an
Yeah.
overall average in his mind of, hey, I'm an 8 or a 9 because
I'm on disability.
Yeah,
I have great income.
Hello.
exactly.
I own a
There-
patent or two.
Mhm.
I've helped to further something in this particular
Mhm.
field. My
Mhm.
family name has great
I'm a
legacy.
Paralympian.
And girls
He could be
beat
athletic,
girls
could be a
beat me when they see
Paralympian,
me.
right? He could be
Hate him like that.
athletic.
Girls beat me when they see me.
I agree what you're saying
See?
with
Right,
all of
yeah.
the things that, like the things that make up the number. But I think
And he thought
what-
that his number matched your number.
No, but I think that people don't. What people don't do is, like, what they don't realize is what you may think makes your number higher isn't necessarily important to the next person.
That's
So
the big
in
part
that
of it.
in that
So
part of
what
where
you-
this woman is saying this PhD gives me this higher of a number, but the person who she's attracted to is a man who does not hold that in that high of importance. So while that seems to you a 9, does not mean to that woman that is also worth the 9, and the other way around.
Right.
Because whatever your number is that you make for yourself, which I feel like, go ahead, shoot high, say that these are 10 because these are the things that are important.
Don't
to you.
shoot
Not
high,
at me,
Mimi.
but
Don't
shoot
shoot
high.
Just shoot at what you know.
But
you
what
are.
I'm saying is, like, you give yourself the numbers that you feel like this is important, but also look for the person who thinks that this thing makes you an 8, not a person who says these are the things that I consider an 8, and be like, nah, it should be this. No,
Yeah.
nah, that's
But I
not
think
how
that's
they-
where we come to
Yeah.
compatibility. And
Yes,
But-
but go for that, and that's what I think people aren't doing.
The-
They're going strictly for I like this, and this should like me back because look, I'm a 9, but you're not her 9.
Right.
And even if you're a 9 in all of these things, you're still not her 9. And that does not mean that she's wrong, she's shallow, she's not looking for the right things. She's just not looking for what you're offering. If I'm at Target, if I'm at Walmart and they don't have the Target things, I don't go tell them, well, why y'all, don't
why
got
y'all
the
ain't
thing
got this?
that what they got at Target? Because at Target, you know what I do? I drive to Target because that's what I got it at. And that's it. I ain't gonna argue with the Walmart people about why they don't have
I
it.
know.
And they should. I just go where it is.
Now, I to that point, Chevy, I agree. The problem is we need to know what our number is in each category. That's why I say we need a rubric. And when you find out what your number is in each category and you find somebody that you like, find out what category is important to them
To
and
them.
see
Yes.
what your number is Because
Yes.
if a looks is attractive, are important to me. Okay, I am a woman who I need to be attracted to the person that I am dating.
So y'all don't price match
No, this is not.
What do you
Best
mean
Buy.
price match?
when y'all go to.
I don't know where this is going, but I love it.
When,
What,
said
what do you mean price
you don't
match?
when
price
y'all go
match.
when y'all go to like y'all go to Target or
Mhm.
Walmart.
Boy, are we
whatever.
talking about couponing right now?
No, that's what
No,
I'm saying.
wait a minute. No, I think I know where you're going, but go
Trying to
ahead.
coupon us.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying like when you price match, so you go to the store and you say, "Hey, why y'all don't have this?" They're like, "Oh, well, we either out of stock or we can get it, but in the meantime, we'll supplement you."
No, I don't want that.
I don't want nobody supplements.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. First of all, this is me being very honest, but
'Cause
that-
it's always
but I
not
think
good
it also
enough.
speaks to my personality. If it's not the store that usually carries the thing I want, I'm never going in there. I'm not even I'm not going there to see if maybe they have one that's like the thing I have. I'm never going in
It
there
has to be the
because
last
I know
store
that
on
the
earth.
store that usually has the things I want, I'm going to where they have the stuff. I'm not going to the store to see if I can get something like it, if they have a comparable. I just don't. Now I understand that maybe there's people that do that. I'm never going to do that. I don't have the time for it. I don't have. That's not the way my brain works. Well, I know they have it here, but let me check these places and see if maybe they have it a little cheaper. They got a variation.
But in
I'm never gonna
reality,
do that.
people
Yeah,
do
but
try
you,
on
come
people.
on, you never
I
ate
know,
no
I
generic.
understand what I'm
You
saying.
never ate no generic cereal.
No, if it's in Publix and it was in there and there was no Fruit Loops, I'm gonna take it down. It's the same Fruit Loops. But what
Women get generic D all the time.
no,
though.
but you understand what I'm
They
saying.
go
It's
shop for
not
generic
no,
D.
we don't go shopping for it.
We don't shop for
We don't
generic
shop
D.
not for
Generic D
generic
be
D.
throwing
If
it.
it's
All y'all
there,
settle for it.
They be
that's
throwing
it.
it at
That
you,
was
and
it.
if you don't,
went,
and
if
if
you
you
went
don't,
to the store,
if
if it was there,
if
and
you
you
don't
came
have,
for Fruit Loops and there was only fruity rings, you might take the
that's
fruity
the
rings.
only reason why
Yes,
I'm
that's
taking
the only
generic
reason.
anything.
But I'm
Because
never
I
gonna be
need
like,
cereal
nah,
right now.
right now.
But
And this is
you're
how I
not supposed
want
to
it.
lower your standards. You just
No,
don't eat no
I-
cereal.
No, but what
No,
I'm saying
but
is I'm not going to go. What I'm not going to do is I look, and if you know how they have the little sign, we do not have this, we only have this. What I'm not going to do when I see they don't offer the other thing is go take this. Why y'all don't have? They already just don't. It's not here. It's not here. Like it's not here. That's it. Like it's just
No,
not here.
I
You know what I'm saying?
get what you're saying overall though, is
Yeah.
that there's a group of men,
Mhm.
because and I hate that we still got to preface all versus we know
Yeah,
nobody.
we know what I'm talking about. You know what
But
it is.
there's a group of men who, and a significant amount,
Mhm.
and every group is a significant group because we are like they're what 20. I know we're 13.5% of the population talking about Black people,
Mhm.
and I think those numbers.
Men are 6%, and I believe women are 7%.
But I think the raw number is like 20 million to 18 million.
Mhm.
Is it that many?
Yeah.
Or I know that it's a 2 million difference between men and women
Yeah,
Mhm.
in the Black community.
Mhm.
So when we talk about a group of people, it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
even if it's only 5% of the
Yeah.
people,
Right,
right? It's still
right.
a lot of people.
Just like
Oh,
Rick Ross only had to pay 0.5% of his
Right.
earnings.
Still a lot.
Right.
It's
It's
still a lot of money.
Right.
because it's a
But
lot,
it's only
yeah.
4%.
It's
Right? So
It's only 11,000 compared to 580,000.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So there are these group of men who are adamant, who don't take no for an answer, who question women about their decisions, and who always feel, for some reason, that a woman's no is not good enough, like what you mentioned before, and that is problematic. I can understand that with what you're saying, and at the same time,
It
men
is.
experience some of that on the other level, but I'm not sure if men experience that at a large level though.
I
where-
don't think
where
so, which is
men
why they
or
don't.
women are-
Which is why they don't
You should
see.
pick me, and
Yeah.
that's why you should.
Which is why I think they don't see how, like, understand why we're that aggravated with it. Because as a whole,
But we're
there's
told
most-
men to be assertive.
But
though.
I
Yeah.
understand that. That's why I was like, I think there's a difference in what we're telling. Because when we tell men, yes, we want you to be assertive. When you want something, yes. But if it is not available to you, and that's what that no meant. No, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It meant it's not available to you. That doesn't mean now you got to talk me down.
But
I
you-
understand
but you
that
know-
you're
Now
telling
you
me
gotta
You
something.
know why?
me.
You know why men
Like,
do that?
We ain't
You want
got
me
to
to tell you
haggle.
why
We
men
ain't
do that?
in
I think
the market.
the biggest problem why men do that is because they take anomaly situations that they go through and it work. I called a girl a bitch. She came over here. Who you calling a bitch? Next thing you know, we end up talking and progressing into exchanging numbers.
So it's
It
weird
worked
to
for
me.
some- It's weird, right? But
It's
it
an
works.
outlier.
Exactly.
But then they use that to say
Oh, that's all.
this.
right.
This is
They
a word.
use
But-
abnormal situations to try to make it, to try to
Well,
normalize
you-
them.
when you've been in sales for 15 years, 100 no's, and you're almost to that next no, I'm gonna keep going.
That's
Like-
But
true.
that's only in sales.
Like that's
Somebody
not, but
told me
not
they don't
with
interested
me.
not, with- not in
But-
human
but-
nature.
Yes, like that's the thing. It's like because guys will say, well, y'all tell men that they should go after something they want. Yes, when you're getting the signal back, like y'all know when it's the signal back. Like maybe I ain't give a lot, but it's some keep going. Y'all know what that is. But when it's no thanks, don't keep going, man. You know what it is. Like
Gentlemen,
you know
don't
what it
keep
is.
going when y'all hear what it is. But you know what's horrible though are those stories, and I personally don't like them.
Mhm.
Is when I hear women give the stories of, oh, I
said no. 100
I said
times.
no, and then he came back, and then I said no, and it was like the 7th time he asked, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go out with you one time. I've heard those stories, and I don't like. To
I
hear
don't
those
like
stories
them because
from women because I think they send
And
the
you
wrong
know
they
what?
send the wrong
They do,
message.
and
You
the
can-
problem is some of them end up successful.
right.
Okay,
That's the-
but
Right.
you know
so
what
that
it
tells
is.
the man, well,
It
only
worked
one
for
no.
her. It happened.
I got about 12 more to go.
Go, yes, and nobody don't got time for your 12 no. So now you on your 6 no.
It worked for
And
Brad Pitt.
Yes, now you on your 6
What?
no, and now she done cursed you out because I already told you, and now she's all types of things, and look at what she's doing and how, and it'd be like, nah, I've been saying no for a long. Some people, I think a lot of women who always tell that story leave out the part where there was a little bit of attraction there. There was something, but I had this going on instead. I was in this other thing. In
That's
those
true.
kind of cases, that's different. Where it was like, if it wasn't this going on, I might have dated him. Or if I wasn't in this, I might have dated him. Or he was with somebody at the time and I wasn't going to be in the middle of that. So I might. So maybe by the
Oh,
time
yeah,
it came
those
around to
things
those
need to be
other
said.
those next
Tell the whole
no's,
story,
then
okay?
now.
Tell the whole
But it's
story.
never that girl that was like, when you
That-
came
that's-
over
that's
there.
a great
You
point
understand
again.
that when she
That's a
come
really
over
great
and she
point.
like, nah, not
That's
at
not-
all.
So now
That's
we
She
need to
really
tell the
meant-
whole story.
Yes,
story.
it was never really
That's-
an
that's- that's
absolutely
a good
no.
point.
I'm glad you
It's
read that.
never
You
that.
acknowledge that
Yeah.
accountability part.
But
Women
I-
don't tell the
But
whole
no, the
story.
people don't tell the story, but men don't say it either.
No, you're
They
right,
don't.
you're right.
Like people don't say that part because it sounds better to be like, on my 12th, she said no, but that
Right,
ain't what
right.
she
No,
said
no,
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 she
but-
wasn't. You
it
know what
But
I'm
in
saying?
that particular case, though, that is going to be on the woman to need to tell that story.
Yes.
Because if the
Exactly.
guy's just being assertive, that's fine.
Yes.
But I think that's real profound. What you said is
Yeah.
that the full story in
Yeah.
context
Yeah.
is
Yes.
that she had some inclination of
Yes,
him.
but
right.
situational,
Right.
timing,
He smelled
whatever was
good.
going on, something made the no
There's
that
some type
could
of
have been a
attraction.
yes. There was something there,
There's
but she said,
something,
because
right.
sometimes you meet somebody, there's something that you just
But
can't like right now.
Real
You know,
talk.
you
I
don't-
don't care how many times Oompa asked.
No.
Oompa could ask me every day of the year. Oompa, no.
Craig saying
What
yeah,
if-
Craig,
what
you're not
if-
saying yeah to Oompa. You
No.
don't care how many times
What
he
if-
asked you.
no.
Okay,
It's
what
no,
if
Oompa.
Oompa gave you a golden ticket?
To what?
What's a
Her
golden
vagina?
ticket? What's
Golden
a golden ticket?
She gonna give me the whole chocolate factory at the end because
I'm gonna
even then
shake
I
her
don't want
hand because now that's another thing.
I'm gonna
People
pass
will
it
be
on to
like,
somebody else.
this is the thing. A lot of times I've had more than one guy
Thank
say,
you.
well, she said she wasn't interested, but then, she said she wasn't interested, but then she continued to see me as a friend. As a friend. She continued to see you and you kept asking because you knew
But-
that was the only access you could have to her.
Right.
So they will switch it to like, oh, well, I'm just, we're just gonna be cool. So she like, okay, we're gonna be cool. But you're actually using it as a way,
as a
You're waiting.
as
You're
an
waiting.
Yes,
opportunity.
as an
right,
opportunity to get, and then when you
That's
still
called
get a
ulterior
no
motive.
later, you're still like, oh, that's
Right.
crazy because you let me spend all this time with you and do all this. Ain't nobody you said you want to be my friend, so now we're friends. I take Adrian to lunch all the time.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean anything. Like, no, but they use that as I'm gonna use any way to get closer, and then I'm gonna hold it against you when you accept my friendship and say, like, oh, that's crazy that you let me do that. No.
So-
That's not how that went.
So here's what I want to talk about the Oompa, right?
Y'all gotta start with
Okay, so
Oprah.
the Oompa understands that the numbers they're chasing is way higher than their own.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oompa knows that.
But her anomaly situations by giving the golden ticket, which is money, turning the Oompa into a sugar mama, has led her to opportunities to get access to men that she normally wouldn't get access to.
I
But
had
see that.
no idea
Yes.
that
I
Oompa
can
was a
see
sugar
that.
mama.
But,
No, but I'm saying
ain't
I
know that
understand that
but if
sometimes
she chose that route, is
happens.
what he's saying.
I'm saying I understand that sometimes happens because it happens for men too, right? I get that.
Oh yeah,
but
women
that
become paymasters.
But that never means that this person is now.
gotten one, man.
But that doesn't. Here's my thing. They
because you
these
never said
dudes.
yes to Oompa.
You gotta say yes to
Oh,
Oprah
man.
first.
You gotta say
I've
yes to
never
Oompa.
heard- What?
But my
It
thing
never
is that
happens to
doesn't
me.
mean
Dudes
that
just
now
do
you
nothing.
are attractive. That doesn't mean
Because-
that now you are attractive. because
No.
I got
No,
you to the
it
yes
doesn't.
by offering you all of these other things. Like if it takes all of the other things to get the yes, the person was never interested in you. If you're not giving
I want
that,
people to think about something from a psychological standpoint that's very important. To in using the example of Oompa, if a person decides to say, because you're going to give me something, I'll give you this
chance, this opportunity, this
this
access.
satisfactory yes.
Uh-huh.
What ends up happening in the long run, sometimes can happen, is you resent yourself for the
For allowing
decision
that.
that you made,
Mhm.
knowing that you were never really attracted to that person.
Yes.
And then in a lot of instances, take that resentment out on the other person
Yes.
and project it onto them.
Mhm.
And that becomes a drastically unfair situation.
Situation.
So the best thing to do is from jump.
Is know your number and stop going over here because you don't even
So
go
don't-
here.
That
Like,
dude with
why
that
Let
leg
you in
really.
here
God.
He's
Well,
in here because
he
he
walked
walked in.
in.
No,
there.
not-
He walked in.
He walked in there,
and held the door for me.
and
He
he's probably
did.
he's probably
You wanted
very
to jump over the
wealthy.
room with you.
Probably very wealthy.
He wanted to jump.
He has all those other. That's the thing.
He had
obviously
everything tracked out for you.
In Chevy's rubric, having two legs is important. And on that note,
No, y'all, this was fun. I'm really glad that we're back. We'll be here every Tuesday. We might snatch Dr. Carter up and have A2 in here again with us because we got to talk about his new book and everything that he's got going on. So we will be back next Tuesday right here. Y'all stay bossy.
I'm so mad you're calling that a